Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gids. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. So I have a very exciting video. I'm going to be delving into a niche house that I haven't really explored, and I'm very excited to be trying out some of their offering. So this is Parfums De Marly. This is the brand I'm going to be talking about today, and I've been testing out some of their fragrances, so I will talk you through those. Now, this is a very interesting brand. There is a lot of love for Parfums De Marly, or as people call it, PDM. And we see a lot of people who are in Fragcom talking and raving about this house, so I thought I'm going to have to explore some of their offerings. Parfums De Marly was founded in 2009, and it celebrates all things sort of French aristocracy and nobility, inspired rather by Louis XV, who was a king and lived in Paris, in Versailles, the Palace of Versailles. And each day, just a random fact, King Louis XV would request for his bedroom to be scented with a different fragrance. So that's kind of what the brand is founded around. The first one I want to talk about is a very, very popular one. This is Layton. So Layton, which I've sprayed on this card, I have it in this little sample here. It has notes in the top of apple, bergamot. In the mid, you've got jasmine and violet, and in the heart, you have vanilla and pepper. Now, this one for me is a kind of fresh, spicy, wet, sort of dewy fragrance. Now, in the opening, which is really interesting, there is this kind of menthol, minty sort of smell, which was a little bit off-putting at first, but the thing is, I sprayed it on card initially. Once I sprayed it on the skin, it really did transform, and I got more of the warmth, the spiciness, and the depth, and the vanilla was more prominent on the skin as well. In the dry down, you get a lot more of the vanilla coming through on skin, but it still remains quite woody, quite warm, quite spicy, and quite aromatic. And as I said, it has this kind of wet, dewy smell to it as well. Now, this fragrance performs quite well. It did last on my skin about 8 hours. I must say that the performance on these fragrances as well is very, very good, and this was no exception. Layton lasted about 8 hours on my skin, which was quite impressive, and I did enjoy it, but I just felt it wasn't really me. So this was a nice one. This was Layton. This was the first one I tried. The next fragrance I wanted to talk about is this one. This is called Layton Exclusif. Now, I was confused by this whole exclusive name that they call the different versions of their fragrance. So I guess the exclusives have the same DNA, but there are some differences. The Layton Exclusif, this has bergamot, grapefruit, geranium, cinnamon, cypriol, gaiac wood. It has oud, vanilla, coffee, patchouli, pink pepper, oak moss, and amber. So this fragrance, there are some similarities to Layton. However, this one has way more depth. It's a lot more complex in the way that this one smells. This one I actually preferred more than Layton. I really do like this fragrance, Layton Exclusif. I find it quite a unique and interesting composition. This one is sort of earthy. It's a bit more green. It has this kind of warm, woody, sort of dewy smell to it, which is really nice. I get a lot of the coffee and the oud in this one. Just really, really good, this fragrance. Also, it has this kind of mossy undertone in the fragrance, which is really, really interesting as well. You do have some nice vanilla as well, which is balanced really well to give it some sweetness in the fragrance, but just the right amount. This is a very elegant fragrance. I can imagine a gentleman who is very well put together, someone who's like a CEO of an organization wearing this as their signature scent. It just commands attention. Do you know what I mean? It just has that sort of authoritative smell to it. Very, very elegant. Layton Exclusif definitely is in my maybe pile. Really, really like this one. So guys, the next fragrance is called Herod. I was really, really excited to try this fragrance. I've heard amazing things about this, and a lot of my friends here in the fragrance community in Fragcom love this one from the Parfums De Marly line. So let's talk about some of the notes in the fragrance. So you've got cinnamon, you've got pepper, tobacco leaf, incense, vanilla, and musk. So for this one, I made some notes. I put warm, sweet, spicy, a little bit smoky, and very, very addictive. This is a beautiful fragrance, so stunning. The tobacco in this isn't too loud or harsh, and it's balanced really nice. There's some nice sweetness from the vanilla, a bit of tobacco, and a little bit of smokiness in the fragrance as well. This is beautiful again, another very elegant fragrance. More, I think it smells formal, so for a nice formal occasion, I think this would be a beautiful fragrance. It's very cozy, it's warm, very, very lovely. This is another one which I've definitely added to my maybe pile as well because it's really, really stunning. I know a lot of women wear this. I think it is a unisex fragrance, well, it's marketed as unisex. It doesn't have a traditionally leaning feminine or masculine kind of DNA in my opinion. I think anyone could wear this beautiful fragrance. So Herod is a big thumbs up. So the next fragrance is called Carlisle. This one again, I really, really like. Let me give you the notes for this fragrance. So the notes in this one is green apple, nutmeg, tonka bean, rose, patchouli, and vanilla. Again, this is a fragrance which is quite deep, quite warm. It's quite balsamic. The rose adds a very interesting dimension to the fragrance, and you also have green apple, which gives it this kind of fruitiness, but I was like, what is that? What is that? And I realized there is tonka and vanilla in the fragrance, which really gives it an added sweetness, which really kind of intensifies it. It's really lovely. The patchouli kind of grounds it in the base and really adds more to it as well. This to me is very, very sexy. This is a very, very sexy fragrance. Again, similar to Herod, I think this is quite a formal kind of occasion fragrance, more appropriate for cooler weather. Very beautiful, very elegant, very refined. These are all beautiful fragrances and they're all very different in different ways. I actually was quite impressed with all of them, to be honest, but Carlisle is again another one that I've put in my maybe pile. I was really, really impressed with this one. Just really nice, very elegant, as I said, and perfect for the cooler months. So yeah, this one is another one which gets my thumbs up. So the next fragrance I wanted to talk about is this one. This is called Galloway. And this fragrance is really kind of a nice, simple, easy wearing fragrance. The notes in this one, you've got some citrus notes, you've got pepper, you've got iris, orange blossom, musk, and amber. Now this one is probably out of all the ones I've been trying, just the most simple, easy to wear, not too fussy, not too complex. This would be a great scent to wear to the office. It has a kind of fresh citrus, peppery vibe to the fragrance. Which is quite safe. I mean, I don't think this is one of the ones which is sort of groundbreaking, and you don't always need to have a groundbreaking fragrance. Very fresh, it smells quite, you know, like just coming out of the shower, that kind of smell. But it performed quite well. I must give it that. It performed really well. It lasted about 8 hours. I've tried all of them out, you know, in different days, giving them opportunities to show how they perform, and it did give me a nice solid 8 hours. Very nice fragrance. As I said, it has a kind of simple, fresh, citrus, peppery vibe to it. Some warmth, some woods, etc. But this has some iris and orange blossom as well. I wish I got more of the iris in the fragrance, but it's very pleasant. This would be a great fragrance for someone to purchase if they wanted something from this house, but didn't want anything too complex or something which is a bit out there. This is very safe. You could wear this to the office or in a corporate environment or any environment. It's kind of a very easy to wear fragrance, sort of dressed up or dressed down. Very pleasant. I think you would get compliments if you wore this fragrance. And yeah, it's probably the crowd pleaser out of all of them. But for me, just no, it's okay, but it didn't really do it for me. So I'm gonna put it in my no pile for that reason. So the next fragrance I wanted to talk about is called Kalan. This fragrance here really kind of perplexed me, and this was one of the ones I kept on trying to make sense of. Very, very, very unique and very interesting fragrance. So let's just do that. The note in this fragrance is blood orange, black pepper, lavender, solar notes, orange blossom absolute, moss, and precious woods. This is a very interesting fragrance. In my notes, I wrote fresh, spicy, herbal green, earthy, unique. Very, very, very unique fragrance. A lot of people compare this to Baccarat Rouge 540, and I can kind of understand why. It has a slight similar sweetness, just a very slight sweetness to Baccarat Rouge 540 in the opening of this fragrance, but really and truly they are completely different. So do not think they are completely the same, because they're absolutely not. This is very, very, very peppery, very, very spicy in the opening, but there's this kind of mossy, green earthiness in the fragrance, which really comes through as well. Quite wood-like. It is quite a versatile fragrance, but for me, there's something in the fragrance that makes it almost smell like concrete. Yes, concrete. And I don't know if it's the moss in the fragrance, but it kind of has this facet to it, which is really strange. Although it's kind of sweet and peppery, it also has this kind of concrete facet to the fragrance, which is very, very interesting. It definitely still is very versatile, but initially I liked the fragrance. I tried it on skin, tried it on the card. However, this is probably one which is going to be a no for me, but I can definitely appreciate how unique this fragrance is. And guys, the final offering is Sedley. This is another one which I really, really enjoyed. In Sedley, you've got notes which are bergamot, you've got spearmint, watery accords, I don't know what that means, geranium, lavender, sandalwood, and Vulcan incense. Some quite interesting notes in the fragrance. I don't know what Vulcan incense is. If anyone does, please enlighten me. This one is very fresh, very bright, aromatic, citrus. Citrus notes, quite musky accords, which are very prominent in the fragrance. I actually think this would be beautiful on a woman as well, because it's so fresh. It's that kind of shower fresh smell, which, you know, fresh scents can work on anyone's body chemistry, but this one performed really, really well. I was actually quite impressed how well these fresh scents from Parfums De Marly perform. I was really, really impressed. As I said, it's another kind of really easy to wear, sort of fresh fragrance. I think this would be beautiful in spring and summer. I would love to wear this fragrance in those months. It's just really uplifting, very bright, very fresh. I smelled this fragrance and I was like, this is reminding me of something. What is it reminding me of? Uomo from Moschino. It reminds me of Uomo from Moschino, but it just has more, even more fresh, bright citrus in the fragrance, which is obviously of a much higher quality. I mean, you can't compare Moschino Uomo to Sedley from Parfums De Marly. I think they obviously have much higher quality of ingredients in Parfums De Marly than in the Uomo from Moschino. I own Uomo de Moschino. It's still a beautiful fragrance. I'm not in no way putting it down at all, but it just reminds me of that. This again would be very nice for an office environment, very corporate, very kind of, you know, when you want to be taken seriously, when you want something that's smart and elegant. This would be very, very beautiful for that reason. Again, I think this can be dressed up or dressed down. But this is a very, very nice fragrance. I'm really, really impressed with this. I can't really get a lot of incense in the fragrance, but I think as well, sometimes when perfumers blend notes seamlessly, it's always hard to pick out individual notes, which is a skill in itself. So yeah, that's the last one I wanted to talk about. Very mass appealing, very elegant, easy to wear. In terms of seasons, I could see this being worn all year round, but this would be great in kind of the spring and summer months as well. Particularly the height of summer, this would be so nice and so fresh. So yeah, guys, that was it. That was my little review of Parfums De Marly. I am really, really impressed with the offerings that I've smelled. I think this is a great house. I think the quality is there and the performance is there. They all, as I said, gave me at least 8 hours. I think Layton Exclusif lasted about 10. So yeah, I am pleasantly surprised, and I'm gonna keep sniffing and figure out what I want from this house. And I will be back to give you more videos very, very soon. But also I wanted to thank Karl, Trusted Nose, and Tenzin for sending me these samples. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe and support, and I will be back to do another video very, very soon. Take care, guys.